Graphite, algae, graphite, those we have completed with the description, and as well as those questions also we have solved. Okay, if you have not attended those classes, you can see in the that will give in the or in YouTube also, that link that has been given there, you will get all those things. So today about the pteridophyte, we will learn pteridophyte. Actually, the literal meaning is the feather-like leaves, plants with or plants having feather-like leaves, that is bird feather. Okay, still there are most of the, not all pteridophytes, but most of them, and particularly these are actually ferns. Ferns, I think it is quite common to you here. This area, that Meghalaya and the Himalayan belt, this hilly area is quite popular, and the house home of the pteridophyte black-eyed gymnosperm. No? So this so pteridophytes include sperm and they are alive and related plants. Related plants, those related plants like some of the plants which is known as club moss, ground pine, this horsetail, etc. These are related. All these forms comes under this. These pteridophytes, they are also known as vascular cryptogams. Cryptogams means non-flowering plants plants having vascular tissue. Cryptogam, according to the our old two kingdom classification, these plants, they have been divided into two major groups. One is called phanerogamous, another group is cryptogams. Cryptogams are non-flowering and phanerogamous are flowering plants. In that, angiosperm, in phanerogamous, angiosperm, gymnosperm, sebaceous, and cryptogams, where the flower formation is not there. So they are the bryophyte, pteridophyte, algae. There is no flower formation. They have been grouped into cryptogams. So this pteridophyte, they are cryptogams, but these cryptogams, they have vascular tissue, xylem and phloem. So as they have xylem and phloem is for the conduction of water and food material within the plant. So this group of plants have a good conducting system. Okay, and this is, though we have seen that bryophytes, they grow on land in the moist condition, but they are not very much suitable for the land habit. Okay, these pteridophytes are, we can say that really they have adapted the terrestrial life. Means land habitat they have opted. Why? Because these they are true land plants. We can say true land plants. Why? Because they have true root system and conducting tissue, vascular system for conduction. I think these 2 points are very important for terrestrial life. They should have a good anchorage, fixing it to the soil, and absorption. Absorption for water and mineral food. And then they have to conduct it to the other part of the plant. So this for the water conduction, xylem is there. The food is synthesized at the top in the leaf, so they should be transported to the root. So they have phloem. So xylem, phloem, due to these, they are very suitable for the land life, and along with that, the other things are also there, that the main plant body is a sporophyte. Main plant body is a sporophyte. Bryophytes and algae, they have main plant body gametophyte. And gametophyte is very soft. And another thing is that in these, along with this, the third point we can give, that is the differentiation of tissue. Up to bryophyte, all the plant body, they have only one type of cell, one type of tissue, parenchyma tissue, soft tissue. There is no hard tissue. But here in the pteridophyte, first that hard tissue has developed. That is sclerenchyma. Sclerenchyma is the main mechanical tissue. So if a plant is standing erect, they need to have that strong tissue, and that is presence of the tissue differentiation, presence of mechanical tissue like that is particularly sclerenchyma. That is why if say in case of algae, you know that algae by their length, all the algae are not microscopic. Some of the algae are huge. They are taller than many of the land plants. Okay, even 100 feet tall or more, but they don't have mechanical tissue, So they cannot expand they need a support, and that's why they are in water. They cannot come up on the ground. So for the land habit, mechanical tissue is required. In the pteridophytes, for the first time, that they have two root system, vascular tissue and mechanical tissue. And plant body also is a sporophyte. This pteridophyte, they have one very important unique character. We can say that a unique character which is found only in pteridophytes is that a sporophyte and the gametophyte are independent. Of each other. In case of bryophyte, the sporophyte is dependent on the gametophyte. In gymnosperm, angiosperm, gametophyte is fully dependent on the sporophyte. But pteridophyte is falling in the middle where both gametophyte and the sporophyte, they are independent and more or less both having a dominance. And that's why their life cycle is life cycle is diplohaplontic, or you can say haplodiplontic. Means the haploid as well as the diploid phase both are equally strong. Okay, so these are some of the important character of pteridophyte. Of course, we cannot go in detail. Now, so main plant body is a sporophyte, which is the dominant phase. Plant body is differentiated into true root, stem, and leaf. Most of the pteridophytes are terrestrial, but some species are aquatic. Aquatic species like example Azolla, Salvinia. These are aquatic ferns. Okay. Marsilia also is there. Many are epiphytic. They grow. You have seen on the tree trunk, no? If you go to the forest or somewhere, you will find that ferns are growing on the branches of the trees. And maybe in pine trees also, particularly in the forest areas where this damp and moist condition is there. Okay. If we see the leaves, pteridophytes can be divided into two groups based on their leaves. Leaves may be a small called the microphyll. Microphyll. This type of example we find in case of Lycopodium pelaginella. These are microphyllous plants and others are large leaves, pteridophytes with large leaves. They are called megaphyll or the megaphyllous species. This is most of the ferns. They are megaphyll, large leaves. And you know, this though the pteridophytes, they do not produce flowers. Most of our ornamental plants, no, they produce beautiful flowers. That's why we keep in garden, inside home also. No? But the pteridophytes, particularly the ferns, they have beautiful leaves. And due to their beautiful leaves, they have been adopted as a ornamental plant. So many ferns are ornamental or of mental value due to presence of beautiful leaves. The sporophytes reproduce by producing spores. This stem is very much branched, well branched stems are there. Sporophytes produce spores within spores within a sporangium. The sporangiums are produced sporangia are produced on modified or normal leaves called sporophyll. They produce a spore. The spores are produced within the sporangia, and sporangia are born on leaves. And these leaves may be normal leaves or it is modified little bit. Okay, so they are called the sporophyll. In case of in some phagocytes, a sporophyll form compact structure called strobilus or cone. The sporophyll may be compactly arranged in some cases, not everywhere. And that compact structure, aggregation of the sporophyll, is called the strobilus. This thing we can find, a strobilus condition we can find in case of Pelaginella and equisetum. Equisetum, the sporophyll is totally modified. In Pelaginella, it is again leaf-like only. And also in Lycopodium, in other, the sporangia, the sporophylls are not modified. Have you seen in fern plant? Okay, in ferns, if you see on the lower side of the leaf, in some of the leaves you will find some spots, brown or black spots. Those spots are places of the sporangia. Those spots actually, what happens? The spores within the sporangia, this is inside, there is a spore, and say this one is a sporangium. In ferns, many sporangia, they grow in groups. Many, maybe 100 or more sporangia again within in one cluster. And this clustered condition is known as torus. Okay? So they may be organized into torus on the leaf. Spores are produced by meiosis division. Meiosis of a spore mother cell. Okay, it is the meiosis, and that's why reduction division. So the spores are are haploid. The male plant body is diploid, sporophyte, and when the sporangium is a diploid, but within the sporangium, the cells they undergo meiosis division and produce the spore. Those spores are haploid. With this, the gametophytic generation starts. The spores germinate to give rise multicellular gametophyte called prothallus. Okay, this is prothallus. The gametophyte is called prothallus. The gametophyte is very, in compared to a sporophyte, the size of the gametophyte is quite different. A sporophyte is large, but the gametophyte is almost microscopic. Okay, they are almost microscopic. So it is in this sense almost. The gametophyte is microscopic, nearly. It is nearly microscopic, very small, and they are, of course, they are green most of the cases, autotrophic, autotroph means, and you know that the gametophyte has a similarity with the diaphyte because they have this parenchyma tissue only, no parenchyma tissue, no vascular tissue. Those things are very less, mainly made of parenchymatous. Parenchymatous and have rhizoid. See again here, no true leaf, true root in the gametophyte. So the gametophyte is similar to nearly the diaphyte. They don't have this gametophyte. Gametophyte is associated with the gamete formation. So they produce sex organs. Gametophyte is associated with gametophyte or the prothallus is associated with sexual reproduction. Okay. They produce sex organs antheridia and archegonia. See here also the pteridophyte resembles with bryophyte because in the bryophyte the sex organs are antheridia and archegonia. Okay, this antheridia is male sex organ and archegonia is the female sex organ. Antheridia within it produce male gametes or antherozoids. This antherozoids mainly flagellated antherozoids. This is also flagellated like the bryophyte. They have some of their structure, maybe sometimes it is coiled structure and they have 2 to many flagella. When this antherizoids mature, they are released from the antheridia. Archegonia produce egg, female gamete, or egg or ovum, you can say. This is same thing, egg or ovum. Okay, archegonia, what is the shape of archegonia? Shape of the archegonia is that like the flask as in bryophyte and within it is the egg. This portion is called, this is the neck, is it? Neck, and this one is venter. So in the venter there is egg. In the neck there is 1 or 2 neck canal cells, and here there is venter canal cell. Venter canal cell. This is VCC. And here it is the neck canal cell or MCC. Okay. Before fertilization, this venter canal cell and neck canal cell all they disorganize and the path is clear. Water is essential for fertilization. Why? Particularly for transfer of antherozoids to archegonians. The amphizoid has to transfer it to the archegonium, and here it requires water. Water is essential. So in this way, bryophyte and pteridophyte both are similar. In both the cases, water is essential. And due to this fact that water is essential, so their distribution of the pteridophyte, the spread of pteridophyte has been limited because they can grow only in those areas where water is available. Water does not mean that they require river or pond or stream. Even few drop of water where that the male gamete of the female Archegonia and Phrygia, they are connected. That is enough because these are microscopic structures. So, due to requirement of, due to this, the spread of pteridophytes is limited to a narrow geographical areas due to their dependency on water for sexual reproduction. Any species, any organism, they cannot survive, they cannot spread, they cannot increase their number of individuals if their reproduction is not successful. So, and they have to require water, so they cannot move very far. Very dry condition, they cannot survive. After fertilization, during the fertilization, egg remain within the archegonia, and archegonia is attached to the gametophyte. Fertilization gives rise to zygote. And here is again diploid condition starts. So a sporophytic generation starts. Yes. This zygote divide by mitosis. Zygote gives rise to embryo, embryo to young sporophyte to adult sporophyte. Okay. So this is what happens, their life cycle. Now one thing in pteridophyte, one remarkable thing has evolved. What is that? that most of the pteridophytes are homosporous. Homosporous means they produce only one kind of spore. That is, all the spores are similar. That is alike. They are homosporous. Most of the ferns, okay, most of the ferns, the lycopodium, they are homosporous, and they produce their spores. They produce one type of gametophyte, and within the same gametophyte, Amphibia and Archegonia are produced. Not on different, but a few of the sporophytes, a few pteridophytes produce two different kinds of spores. One is two different kinds of spores. One is a small microspore and large called the megaspore. Okay, so this is two different kinds of spores, a small and large size. The small one is produced in large quantity, but the large one, they are produced with a small quantity. Maybe in one sporangium, 3 to 4 megaspores. So, like that, the microspore produced in microsporangium. Microsporangium in large number. Say, a small one, large number. But those which are large in size, produced in megasporangium. In limited number. Limited number is 1 to 4. Okay, only this much. The megasporangium size also is big. This megaspore, this one is, we can say, this is comparable to the female, this one is male. Okay? And this condition, this species or the pteridophyte genera are called heterosporous. Heterosporous species. And the phenomenon is called heterospory. The heterosporous species, Pelaginella, example is Pelaginella. Salvinia, Azola, Marsilia. About 9 genera are there which produce heterospores. And this heterospory is a very important event in the evolution of the plant. In case of bryophytes, all the plants are homosporous. They produce only one type of spore. Okay? But in case of pteridophytes, most of them are homosporous, a few are heterosporous. After that, if we go to the higher group of plants, gymnosperm, angiosperm, all are heterosporous. There is no homospory. So, this pteridophyte is in the transit point, in the middle, in a transition, in the evolution of the plant. No, this is very, very important. Now, what happened? That microspore on germination give rise to male gametophyte or we can say male propeller. Okay? This male gametophyte produce amphibium. Amphibia, and within the amphibia produce amphibizoid. Okay? Mega spores they produce megaspores produce female gametophytes or female procellus. This produce, so this will produce female sex organ, that is produce archegonium. Archegonium produce egg or the female gametes. said during the fertilization, this megaspore or the female gametophyte, they remain attached with the mother plant, the sporophyte. And after that, it the female gametophyte or the megaspore and female gametophyte remain attached to the mother sporophyte during fertilization and development of embryo. Development of at the time of development of embryo, this is still attached to the female gametophyte. Within the sporangium it is. Within the spore and within the sporangium and with the female gametophytic tissue. This is, they remain for a variable period in different plants, different phagocytes, for a different time length. Okay. But this development of the embryo takes place within the female gametophyte. This is a character which is required for the seed development. In higher plants, what happens in angiosperm, gymnosperm? No, seed, within the seed we find the embryo. Embryo has developed. During the formation of the seed and the fruit, still that is attached to the mother plant. No, seed mature, it is attached to the mother plant. This retaining period is required to develop fruit and seed. And seed development is an important step in the evolution. So that's why it is told that the phagocyte is an important group, particularly those showing heterospory. And these are the precursors of the seed habit. Precursor means that is the step or the stages which can give rise to seed for seed habit. So seed habit in the evolution we can trace in the phagocyte, in the heterosporous. So the development of the heterospory and seed habit, heterospory and seed habit is an important step in evolution, which can be traced back to phagocytes, and particularly it is associated with Selagidula. In Selagidula plant, where the Heterostory we can see in Selaginella plants this seed habit condition we can see. In some of the Selaginella, that the germination of the embryo also. No, when the embryo grow into a young plant, at that time also it is attached to the mother sporophyte. This is just like viviparity. Viviparous condition is found in angiosperm. Vivipary is that is germination of the seed when it is still attached to the mother plant. Sometimes you can see in some of the squash, no, squash vegetable that fruit it is here it is seen that is still hanging, no one is plucking. Then you will see that the new plant has young one has come out. No, easily it germinates. So this is that is viviparity. Viviparity condition is also found in the there is a mangrove plant which grow in coastal areas. Okay, so there we get. So this is the all about the phagocyte. Uh, so it is okay. Next class we will see the gymnosperm, or if I take class from